It's time for an update on the California Rental Assistance Program. There have been big changes to the HousingIsKey.com website since we did our last video in March. We're also going to cover the new changes related to AB 832, which is California's newest eviction moratorium. Stick around to the end where we have a very important update that California landlords and California tenants are going to want to see related to prospective rent. That's rent going forward for the months of July, August, and September. Hey there, Christian Walsh, Wire Associates. We're real estate agents based in Southern California, helping tenants and landlords and buyers and sellers in California and beyond during these crazy days. And we're here with a big update on the California Rental Assistance Program. There have been a lot of recent changes, and the website HousingIsKey.com has changed dramatically since the last walkthrough I did as soon as it was created in March. And remember, we can't give tax or legal advice, but for the most honest and up-to-date real estate advice, subscribe to this channel. So if you're ready to find out where you can get a piece of the $5 billion plus in California rental assistance, hit that like button and let's get started. California's newest eviction moratorium bill, AB 832, has made some big changes that you're going to find on HousingIsKey.com and the California Rental Assistance Program. So the biggest change that we're excited about is instead of landlords only getting 80% of back rent and having to forgive the other 20, they now get 100% of back rent for eligible tenants and 100% of prospective rent for eligible tenants. That's rent going forward. And at the end, we're going to show you exactly how that works. Another big change is even if tenants have moved out, they can still apply and get rental assistance for a landlord in a unit they're no longer in possession of. Buried deep in the bill is some important information related to the logistics of the rental assistance program. And here's a very cool one, and that is by September 15th at the statewide and local level, the rental assistance programs need to provide a tracking service for your application. So whether it's a phone or online system, tenants and landlords will be able to actually see the status of their application instead of sitting in limbo and wondering what's happening. And one more big change to bear in mind, landlords. Before being able to move forward with an unlawful detainer for non-payment of rent, whether it's related to COVID-19 or not, coming October 1st, 2021, landlords are going to be required to apply for rental assistance first. So make sure as a landlord, before you move forward with an eviction due to non-payment of rent, that you do apply for rental assistance. So the first step is to type in HousingIsKey.com, and you're going to do that and it will redirect you to housing.ca.gov. That is the same website, don't worry, it looks like this. And they've definitely streamlined things since I did my first video back in March. And they've also added several other languages so that this site is much easier to use for lots of different tenants and landlords. There's information down here on the bottom. For example, eviction protection guidelines and forms. Unfortunately, these forms have not yet been updated for AB 832 as of the shooting, which is in early July, but those forms will be updated. So it's very simple. You are going to just click on this and you're looking for the Apply Now button. Much easier than in the past. You don't have to dive in. You can continue if you have already started an application. You're going to click that button. The call center, this number, the 833-430-2122, that will be your friend for now until they get things set up better. You are going to call that number, be prepared to sit on hold, and you may not always get the same advice when you call, unfortunately. Another big thing here, qualified renters and landlords are eligible for 100% of rent and utilities, no longer limited to the 80%. And you can click around to find more information. And down here, another thing that they've dramatically streamlined, here is the paperwork you will need. Before, it was a whole lot of paperwork. Now, renters and landlords, it is basically, they're saying here, all you need is one of these items. You don't need all of these items. So this is definitely a whole lot easier than before, where they were asking for a whole lot of other stuff. So that's a quick overview of the website and a few changes there. So let's hit the Apply Now button. So when you click the Apply Now button, you're taken to a very different screen than last time. What this will help you do is determine which program, no matter where you are in California, where you're going to apply, and it's going to provide links to make it easier to do. Because we have the state program, the state level, and that's the green you see here. A bunch of money went to the state level. Other funds went to local programs. So it could be county, it could be city as well, and that's shown on the map. And then some areas you're eligible for both. So what you're going to do is you're going to type in an address of where you live or landlords where your property happens to be, and it auto suggests. I'm just picking a random one here. It would help if I spelled it right. 123 Main Street in Huntington Beach. What it shows here is that you're going to apply to the state. So there's a link right there. So you're going to click on the link and get started on the application. And this is the eligibility quiz. It's very easy. We'll run through it as a landlord first. Landlord. Then you're going to see, are you on tribal lands? And the answer in our case will say no. Are you a landlord who, these are easy questions, has one or more eligible tenants who owe you rent? You wouldn't be here if you didn't have tenants who owed you rent, so you're gonna hit yes. Then this shows you what you need. You're gonna need one of the following, and then you're gonna click Apply Now, and you're gonna create an account and log in. So it's a very quick eligibility interview process. So we'll run through now as a tenant. So we're a tenant. Are we a member of one of these tribes? No, we're not. Is the household income at or below 80% of the area median income for your county? So this is where you select your county. We'll pick orange, that's where I am. And then we're gonna select the number of household members, because remember, it's based on how many members you have. I have 6, two adults and 4 kids. So the income limit's 124,800, so almost 125,000. And we're gonna say our income is under that so that we can keep this going. Has COVID-19 affected us is the short answer, and then we're going to say yes. Do you have an eviction notice, or can you demonstrate instability? This would be if you haven't paid rent for any of the months. If you weren't able to pay full rent, the answer here is yes. And then you are going to go ahead and you're going to need one of these things as well. What's great is you only need one, you don't need all of them like you needed before. So you're gonna click the Apply Now. And just to show you what happens if you fail the eligibility quiz, don't worry, nobody's watching. You can continue to take it until you get to the screen to register. So we're gonna say that we're not a member of that. Then we're gonna pick the income again. Let's say orange, 6 of us. And let's say our income is higher than that. We're gonna say, because the question is your annual household income under this amount? Well, let's say we made 125,000. We'd say no, sorry, you don't qualify at this time. So here's a landing page once you log in, and these are from when I was playing with the website back in March. This shows you I have a tenant one and I have a landlord one to try it out. So as a tenant, I've been non-responsive, so my status is there. As a landlord, my application's in progress. So we'll start there. Now landlords, you're going to have to provide a W-9 in order to get paid, and I know some landlords don't want to share their social security number if it's under a social security number, but it's worth doing and required, in fact, if you're going to try to move forward with an eviction later on. So there's some advice here, and I will say it doesn't look like this advice has yet been updated to reflect AB 832. Because it talks about the rent relief program not ending on June 30th, which is true. It doesn't end June 30th, but they actually mean September 30th. So I don't think they've updated it. Look for that. But this answers a lot of different questions in here. So complete and continue for a landlord. It says in there as well that you also don't want to do multiple applications. You want to put all your properties in one as landlords. So this is basic information. Here's where you're going to do the W-9. And then you're gonna put in other information. Nothing crazy, not as in depth as it was before. I felt like they asked a whole lot of tougher questions before. And then if this is where you put in the tenant information, and what they tell you is let your tenant know that you've initiated this process and let them know that an email will be coming. That's one of the things they recommend. So this is a quick run through on the landlord side. And now we'll look at it from the tenant side. I was non-responsive in my application before. It's from March. It was just to test out the system. So let's go in there. And the tenants do have more to input, but it is free rent, 100% of free rent after all. So it's definitely worth doing. So they run through a program overview here. And this one is a mix, and I found this on the landlord side. It's not 100% updated, but this does have some updates from AB 832, and it's very important, I want to show, because this was a big question for landlords as well, and you've got to see what I found in here. So you're going to go ahead and run through eligibility. You're going to have to talk about your household size, answer some questions. It's nothing crazy tough. Then you go through giving your information. You have to document the COVID-19 impact. So you're going to have to answer these questions. Again, these aren't tough questions, and you may have to upload. Now here's where it gets interesting, and this is something that landlords are going to be excited to see, and I know tenants will as well. And here's what it is. Are you requesting rental assistance? Well, yeah, that's why you're here. This is where you're going to go ahead and you're going to put in tenants, a lot of information. You're going to have to get your landlord's information here, and the email is going to help them cooperate with you. But here's what's great. You put in the amount of rent you owe from all these time periods, and you'll find this on your 15-day notice that the landlord should have been giving you. The 15-day pay or quit notice, it's supposed to document the rent you've missed. So that's everything in arrears. But look at this. You can request rent going forward, and that's exactly what AB 832 talks about. So if you're filling out this application in July and you know as a tenant you're not going to have the money in August and September, you can request it here. And there's great outlines that for future rental assistance that you can't request yet, but maybe you will be able to. So this is a very big deal to be able to request the rent going forward. A lot of landlords have asked me this, and a lot of tenants have asked me this, but you can make that request now in the system. So this is a quick run through on the tenant side. There's also, if you're asking for assistance with utilities, you do that in the future section. But definitely worth taking the time to sit down and go through this and be as thorough and accurate as you can. And here's a quick example. If you don't apply to the state program, what happens? So we're going to go ahead and pick an address in Los Angeles, because in Los Angeles they have their own rental assistance. So here, this says you apply to the local jurisdiction, and then you're going to click the link to the program, and unfortunately, very disappointing, but this program is currently out of money. So you got to come here at a later date and see. There is more money coming. These were the funds from December, and there's still funds that were distributed in March. But this is an example where you apply to a local program. It'll give you that link so you can go do that. Make sure you subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter where we cover topics like this and a whole lot more for tenants and landlords and buyers and sellers. There's a link below so you can do that. And leave your comments. I want to hear how it's going for you in rental assistance. I know it's tough out there. A lot of landlords and tenants who've applied haven't heard anything or have not yet received the money. Our belief is that things will get easier. I know that at the state level, they're working hard to get those funds out. So be patient and continue to provide whatever information they need. Let us know in the comments below how it's going for you in rental assistance. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Christian Walsh, Wire Associates, and we appreciate you.